The universe took its time on you, crafted you to offer the world something different than everyone else. When you doubt how you were created, you doubt an energy greater than us both. Irreplaceable. It's poems by Rupi Kaur. My name is Kelsey Dawn, and we're the Love Force Rising. Both self-doubt and self-trust are internal experiences. So when we try to validate those things from outside of ourselves, rather than following our own gut, our own instincts, our own intuition, then that perpetuates self-doubt. Perhaps there were authority figures in your life that made you doubt yourself because they told you things should be done a certain way and you wanted to do them differently. This can happen in so many different ways. When we are looking for external validation rather than coming to our heart, coming to honoring our truth and what feels right for us in each moment, for you in each moment. The way to dissolve self-doubt is to build up self-trust. And it's through practice. We've done many years of doubting ourselves, maybe not believing in yourself for a very long time now. I had created an old program, this program in the body that the mind remembers, the body remembers as what's comfortable because that's what it knows. And that's not true. That was, again, perpetuating the self-doubt. So now, each time that you're met with self-doubt, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to cancel that old programming, to stop it in its tracks, and create a new program. Create the life you've been dreaming of, you've been wanting and you desire for so long, but it just hasn't been happening because you haven't trusted yourself. You are a powerful being. Your power is immeasurable. And when you tap into that immeasurable power, you dissolve self-doubt and activate self-trust. And I'm going to show you how. Step 1. You're going to acknowledge how you're feeling and what emotions have come up. Don't worry about the story of why those emotions come up or the story that's attached to them from years ago. Just tune into those feelings. Acknowledge like, oh, I'm angry right now. I have this self-doubt and it's making me angry or sad. Why can't I trust myself? Tune into those emotions. We want to turn into them. As soon as we don't turn into them and we try to push them away or pretend that they don't exist or get mad at ourselves for feeling a certain way, we're telling ourselves that we're doing something wrong, which is perpetuating the self-doubt. And when we want to change the self-doubt is an old program. It's no longer useful. And we want to create a new program. But in order to create a new program, we're going to have to stop the old program in its tracks. So the next thing you're going to do, after you acknowledge yourself and you bring yourself self-love and compassion and gratitude for witnessing yourself in this experience, oh, this is a learning experience. I got this. Wrap yourself in unconditional love when these experiences come up. Have compassion for yourself. Okay, number 2. 2 is now, in the place that you have self-doubt residing, you're going to tell that self-doubt, not useful. Self-doubt is not useful because ultimately your higher self, your best self, knows how to trust itself. You were born with the ability for self-trust. You were born with the instincts and intuition to follow your heart, follow your gut, follow those instincts, what's right and true for you. Yeah. So the next time self-doubt shows up, what are you going to say? Not useful. Step 3. Now we have acknowledged the self-doubt. We've stopped it in its tracks by saying not useful, so we're quitting the old programming. Now we want to create new programming. We want to create a future that we dream of. We want to create the reality that we want right now by feeling it, by experiencing it. And the way we get to do that is by creating an affirmation to support us to move forward. An affirmation to rewire the mind and the body. Create new neural pathways that are for self-trust. So what are some affirmations you could say? I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust myself. And I know this might feel really weird when you start with this kind of an affirmation, because there's this deep ingrained belief, old belief, that you don't believe yourself. You have this self-doubt. So it might feel kind of funny at first. You might feel some weird contractions and constriction in your body, or it might show up in all different types of ways. But you are creating a new pathway. Your body and mind remember the old pathway. That's an old memory, an old pattern. So to create a new pattern, you have to get into the new, the unknown. You have to create something new. So it's going to feel weird as you're forging that new path forward. Like imagine you're cutting through a jungle, trying to forge your path forward. You can do this. You were born this way. What's another affirmation? I have full sovereignty over every aspect of my reality. I have full sovereignty over every aspect of my reality. Or, I know what is right and true for me. I know. Any of these affirmations replaces the old thinking. And the mind believes what you tell it. It is scientifically proven that the mind believes what you tell it. So the more you stop that old programming, that old way of thinking, and create this new pathway, there's this opening. As soon as you say not useful, now you've created in this open space, this offering, this open door for you to walk through with self-love and trust. I'm going to tell you a little story about myself. So in 2016, I went to Myanmar, Yangon, and did a 30-day meditation and training. Now, during this 30-day meditation and training, we were meditating all day. So we got up 3 o'clock in the morning. From 3 o'clock in the morning, we were meditating till 10 o'clock at night, except for breakfast and lunch breaks. And in that time, we would sit for an hour, walk for an hour, sit for an hour, walk for an hour, and it would go on and on like that throughout the day. Now, about halfway through, I passed out. Now, I didn't realize I had passed out when I passed out, but what I woke up to was this excruciating pain, this like pumping from my heart, and it was like pumping like fire and like sharp shooting pains and like burning through my body. It was so intense. But because I was in this state of self-awareness, in intention, in being so present and in that now moment, I was able to trust that I knew what to do for myself and make my way through it. But I also had this strong intuition that I needed to get up and do my walking meditation now, that I needed to move the energy through the body. So that's exactly what I did. And within 5 minutes, this excruciating pain that if I were probably back in BC, Canada, then I would have been calling up the hospital, call 911, oh my gosh, what the hell's happening to me right now? Holy shit, I might be having a heart attack, you know? But because I was in such a state of self-awareness, self-trust, in that present moment, I knew exactly what to do. And the whole thing passed. And then what I was left with was this heightened sensitivity, that my clarity in senses of touch, smell, hearing, everything heightened. Incredible. Incredible what we can transform through with our own intention and trusting ourselves. You can do this too. All right, before I give you those 3 steps to trust one more time, I ask if you could please subscribe to this channel. If you're finding this information at all supportive, it resonates with you, maybe you want to share it with some other people, I'd be so grateful. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for subscribing so you get those reminders weekly when I put out my new video to support you with this free content. And then give it that like. If this video really resonates with you, give it the thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so I also invite you with this content to grab a journal, to go through something that came up for you over this past week where you were feeling self-doubt and work through these next 3 steps. Okay, the 3 steps are: number 1, acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge the emotions and your feelings that you're going through. Let go of the story and witness those feelings and emotions. Witness and turn into that self-doubt. And then bring compassion to yourself, self-love, and gratitude that you have this opportunity and this experience now. Okay? Step 2. Now, in that place, you're going to stop it, self-doubt in its tracks. Not useful. You're going to say, self-doubt is not useful, or just not useful. And you can use not useful for any old patterning, mind patterning that comes up. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'll start tomorrow. Not useful, right? Stop the old programming in its tracks. Clear, delete, reset with number 3. Now in this opening in this space you've created, this new neural pathway you're creating, telling the mind what to believe, and that is, I trust myself. A statement of affirmation. I trust myself. Or, I have full sovereignty over every aspect of my reality. Or, I know what is true and right for me. I know what is true for me. I know. Or maybe it's something else, another statement or affirmation or mantra that resonates with you. What comes forward for you when you do this process? The more we do this, the more we step into our hearts, the more we live through our life through self-trust, self-love. When we stand tall in trusting ourselves, others do the same for themselves. I love all of you. Thank you for you. Peace and much love.